First of all, I would like to say how pleased we are to have parents who are concerned for their kids' health and safety as well as that of our staff. That will make all of the difference in the end. I'd like to take a few minutes to go over some of the safety protocols that we will have in the fall for our students, as well as go over some of the information about the virtual learning option and what it will look like. In regards to students who will be attending school daily, we will be conscious of their health and safety from the moment they step out of their cars. There will be someone stationed at the front door ready to take their temperature. If their temperature is 100.4 or higher with the touchless forehead thermometer, they will be asked to have their temperature retaken with an ear thermometer. If their temperature is still 100.4 or higher, they will be sent home. If a child is sent home with a fever, they will need to be fever-free without medication for 72 hours prior to returning to school. All students should be wearing a mask as they enter the building. Once they have been cleared for school, they will proceed immediately to their classrooms. Students who arrive prior to 7:30 will stay outside their designated classroom in the hallway until their teacher arrives. Masks and/or face shields will be worn in all common areas of the school all day. Breakfast and lunch this year will be served in the classrooms. We've purchased microwaves for each classroom in the event that a student brings something from home that needs to be heated. Breakfast and lunch accounts will still be used, and meals will be available for purchase just as before. All food will be delivered to the classrooms. Students will not be able to use the school water fountains. Instead, we have rented a water cooler for each classroom, and students may bring a clear container and refill it using the water cooler that will be in the classroom. Students will be trained on good hand washing and will practice that routine often throughout the day. We've purchased sanitizing products for each classroom, and the teachers and students will be trained in how to quickly and efficiently sanitize their rooms periodically throughout the day. Elementary classes will remain in their classrooms throughout the day to minimize movement, with the exception of daily recess. We feel strongly that it is vital that our children have the sense of freedom that outside brings right now. Students will be supervised by their teachers and will be socially distanced. Only one class will be allowed outside at a time on the playground equipment, and the equipment will be sanitized prior to the next class coming out. For at least the first 9 weeks, the teachers will be responsible for all resource-type classes, as we want to minimize interactions, as well as some extra time in class to close the educational gap that we believe exists as a result of this pandemic. We are working very hard to create socially distant classrooms. If we can create rooms where students are 6 feet apart, then they will not have to wear masks or face shields in class. If we cannot create a socially distant classroom, then they will need to wear them all day. We will let parents know once a final decision has been made, as some of that will depend on the number of students who sign up for the virtual program. Students will need their mask and/or face shields anytime they leave the room to go to the restroom and at dismissal and upon entering school. Middle and high school classes have been arranged so that there is minimal travel in the day, with the teachers doing the majority of that travel. In the event of a class change, the room will be sanitized prior to the students leaving. We have prioritized keeping the middle school classes as stationary as possible. The high school students may have to move 2 to 3 times within the day, but long gone are the moves of 6 and 7 times a day. Again, the mask question will be answered once we get closer to the start of school. All students will wear their mask upon entering and exiting school, as well as any common areas. All students will have a single point of entry into school daily so that temperatures can be taken. For the foreseeable future, There will be no guests or visitors in classrooms. Anyone entering the school for things such as picking up a child or making a payment will need to have on a mask and have their temperature taken prior to entering the building. In the event of a student or staff testing positive for the virus, the Department of Health will be called immediately. They will help us with investigating and contact tracing and will drive all decision making with regards to shutting down a class or the school and the length of time that is needed. All parents will be notified. Sadly, the rules seem to be fluctuating a great deal right now, and with school 5 weeks away, I cannot predict what will change. Please know, however, that we will do our best to not only meet, but to exceed the guidelines so that we can create the best scenario for your child. Students who, for any reason, must stay home may log on to our virtual classroom so that they do not fall behind in their class. Examples of this would be students who need to quarantine after exposure, students who may test positive, students who have gone home with a fever, or even students who don't feel well and parents just don't want to take a chance on sending them to school. If they log in from home for the day, they will be counted present. And if they do not, they will be counted absent for the day. This is not meant to be a permanent option for those who have selected the 5-day-a-week in-school plan. In the event that you feel that the best course of action for your child is virtual learning, you do not have to withdraw from Parsons to make that happen. Your child has the option of virtual learning with the teacher that they have been assigned to. For those of you who attended PCA last year, I must tell you, though, that the state guidelines and mandates for virtual learning are very different than they were last time. The state has mandated that students will be online all day with their assigned teacher. We have purchased laptops for every classroom so that teachers can have lessons for the ones at home in real time with the students who are here at school. We will be utilizing Microsoft Teams with all students in all grades, both in and out of the classroom. This way, there is both consistency for parents with multiple children and multiple teachers, as well as a seamless flow in case your child at any point has to work from home. Students who are registered for virtual but do not log in daily for the class meetings will be counted absent. While the state rule for in-class days has been amended for the first semester, the number of absences has not. So your child will need to be diligent about being online all day, every day. The due dates for assignments will be the same for students in class and students in virtual. There will not be an option to turn in work at the end of the week. It will need to be turned in daily or whatever time frame has been given for those that are in class. Microsoft Teams is accessible by phone as well as most tablets and laptops. Parents will need to fill out an application each 9 weeks for their child to be a part of the full-time virtual option. If you decide that virtual does not work well for your child, you may reintegrate them into the classroom once the second 9 weeks begins. Please remember that currently the state has only waived this for the first semester of the school year. The state plan at this point is that students will be integrated into their classrooms for the second semester. That could change, but please be aware that the only virtual option guaranteed for the entire school year is Florida Virtual School. Applications for the virtual program will be emailed to parents and can also be found on the school website. The deadline for registering for the virtual option is August the 7th. This will give parents plenty of time to monitor the situation and make the best decision for your family. Lastly, I would like to let all of our families know that doing PCA virtual does not put your child's scholarship, if they are on one, at risk at all. This plan follows both the state and scholarship guidelines that have been put into place. You will lose your scholarship if you opt for a full year virtual experience through FLVS or do all virtual, but not PCA virtual. I'm sure that there are still many unanswered questions. We will be posting a Q&A section on the website as well to answer any parent questions that come through the survey. We will monitor that survey and will add to that Q&A as needed. We are praying for all of our families as we go through this journey together. Please remember that our goal is to provide your child with a high-quality education, whether they are in the classroom or out of the classroom. God bless.